Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. So today I'll do the second part of the Q&A session, and then this one will be about questions relating to the game itself. And again, yeah, thank you for all your questions. And yeah, there were so many, I may have to split this video in two, but we'll see. Okay, Michael Chips asks, what monster is your favorite in the game so far? Which monster are you looking forward to the most that's not available in our English version yet? And then there's an answer, you won one. I think you love Sakura. Yes, that is true. Sakura is and probably always will be my favorite character in the game. But I also really like Light Murasame, both from a looks design standpoint and then from an ability standpoint. And then I really like Seimei as well, all three versions. He's pretty cool looking. And then as for characters that I'm looking forward to in the future, one is the transcendent form of Raphael. And yeah, I will take this time to lodge a complaint with X-Flag. I didn't like how they took all of the angel names and truncated them. So Raph is Raphael, really, and then Mika is Mikhail, and then Uri is Uriel, and then Lucy is Lucifer. Yeah, I think the full names are cooler, and it doesn't matter that they're, guys' names for girls. It's still cool. But anyway, I really like Raphael, or I will like that transcendent form. And then also there's a character coming named Rickle, and she is, her Ascension form has an unusual set of abilities. An 8-turn tackle strike shot, which you know I love. And then she'll have a flare like Akala, but she'll be a blast type, so it'll be super duper powerful. Really looking forward to that kind of unique character. And then finally I'm looking forward to the transcendent form of Satan, or who is known as Lucifer in our English version. And he will also have an 8-turn strike shot, and it'll be a null everything, so that'll be fun to use. And then he'll also have a quadruple killer, so it'll be fun to kind of experiment with him in lots of different missions. Okay, next, Matthew Durrett asks, have you ever played, or do you play the JP version? No, I do not. And then the reason for that is because I started on the English version, and then, I've invested so much time and other resources that I don't want to give it up. And then, I feel like I want to support the English version of the game, and then also the English community, which is why I'm focusing on the English version. I don't see a lot of action in the English community online, or on YouTube in particular, so I thought this could be a role that I could fill. And then second question here, what's your favorite transcension look-wise and buff stats-wise? And then my answer for that is, for looks I really like Agnemut and Agnemut X. They kind of look more adult, they're kind of taller, longer limbed, a little bit more adult looking, a little bit less cute looking. And then the pose is cool, and the costume is cool. And then for the stats and abilities, I really like Mundus. He became super duper strong. He was always very versatile, but now he's even more versatile and also stronger, so I'm really enjoying him. And then I've been really impressed with Royce lately. I watched a lot of play videos of JP players using him, and he looked really strong. But to actually use him is completely different. He's just a killer. Okay, next, Zero Gravity asks, if you could be one monster in the game, which monster would it be? And then my answer is probably Marishten. He looks really cool. He's either super fast, so it looks like there's a lot of him, or he can kind of create images of himself. So that's a pretty cool ability. And he can also do a healing and then hit stops, which would be fun to do. And then I also like Royce just for the reason that he's riding on Dragon. That's pretty fun looking. Okay, next I got a question from Singtao. I hope I said that right. And then also ITV Center asked this question. What do you like about Monster Strike the most, and how did you first get into the game? This is a very good question. The way I got into the game, let's see, maybe a little over a year, maybe 2 years ago, I became really interested in this Japanese idol group called Denpa Gumi Inc. And I would watch a bunch of videos of them on YouTube. And actually, I was not very interested in idol groups up to that point. But this one is different because they're all nerds. They're all otaku about certain genres of, like manga, anime, cosplay. And they're very interesting to listen to, like their talk. They all have very kind of interesting personalities. So to listen to their interviews is more interesting than I would say watching their videos or listening to their music. But anyway, since they have a lot of background in gaming, they did a couple of collaborations where they played the game, where they played Monster Strike, just to get their impressions and advertise the game. And they eventually gave up Monster Strike, but I saw their videos of them playing it, and then I was just conveniently in a certain mood to want to start a new game. So I started it from there, seeing Denpa Gumi Inc. play it, and it took off from there. And then there are a lot of reasons why I like Monster Strike, maybe more than any game that I've played before. I certainly spent more time on it than any game before. It's very simple, and yet it's very complex. The play mechanic is very simple. You just, drag and let go. And whoever thought of that super simple mechanic is a genius. And so since it's so easy to play, you don't get tired of it, I would say, very easily. You can go for a long time, and you can go day after day, and it doesn't get old. But there's also great complexity in it. There's a whole bunch of different missions with different gimmicks and like combinations of elements and things. And so you have to tailor-make your team for every mission. And then you've probably heard me make this comparison before, but the game that Monster Strike reminds me of most is Final Fantasy Tactics, which is very similar. There's different missions and levels, and they all sort of have different characteristics about them that you need to sort of match with your team. And so, there's like a perfect team that you can put together to play through the mission. Or you can take, kind of an oddball or quirky team and still get through it, even though it might be more challenging. And that's very true for Monster Strike as well. And if you've watched my videos, you know that I like to take sort of underrated or like unsung characters through missions, just because it's an additional challenge. And Monster Strike is very open like that, and so you can play the game, very in a straightforward manner, or you can kind of take it in directions of your own choosing, which is a lot of fun. And then one thing that Monster Strike has a great advantage over Final Fantasy Tactics is that it is constantly updated. So there's always new levels and there's always new characters to use. So that's really contributed to how and why I've played this game more than any other game, I think. Okay, Super Y2J asks, top 3 features you're looking forward to the most. So he's probably asking about like menu options or like game mechanics. And so the 3 that I'm looking forward to the most, number 1 is Max Luck bonus. And these are rewards for making a certain number of Max Lucks. And then, at 30 Max Lucks, you can get a free Hakua, which is pretty great. And then once you get above, a certain number, you get more sort of game mechanics unlocked. Like beginning a mission with a full strike shot meter, or after you defeat a level, you get a little bit extra HP back, stuff like that. Really looking forward to that. Next, the JP game, it very recently got a big jump in their gold Ableberry drop rate during the temples. So that would be a big ol' help. That would inspire me to get more Ableberries. And then they have an option where it's kind of like a library of quests that are always available. and they include like 5-star extreme quests. And so, like Momotaro, for example, will be available all day, and you can play it up to 5 times a day. So that would make it really easy to gather Ascension materials, or to make Max Lux on your own schedule. I don't need any more Max Lux, but to have that available for Ascension materials would be really great. So yeah, those are the 3 new features I'm looking forward to. Okay, Faran Weiss asks, and thank you for all your questions again. Let me see, number 4. Have you ever thought the game was unfair or made you feel like you needed to spend money? Have you spent money on it? I do not feel the game is unfair, because you can reach kind of the highest peaks of the game and defeat the highest difficulty levels of the game with characters and parties that are free. You can get impossible monsters, and those are some of the best impossible monsters in the game, and you can certainly get them with free monsters, free extreme monsters. It's not easy, but if you keep at it and you get some practice, you can unlock everything. And then the Tower of Champions, it's kind of called the Tower of Whales, because a lot of people feel that if you don't have the right characters, you can't advance past certain floors. And therefore, only the people that spend a lot of money and pull the hatcher a lot can, advance up the Tower of Champions. And I specifically did runs through the towers, and I made videos of free parties going through the Tower of Champions, just to show that that's not totally true. There are certain floors where there are kind of big speed bumps. Floor 21, for example, it's very difficult, but we recently got Sanma, the extreme monster there, so that makes it a little bit more doable. Floor 24 is still super hard with drop monsters, but I have seen people clear it with just drop monsters. And then floor 33 was also super difficult, but we recently got Avalon, so that should help from there. 36 and up, I'm not sure how doable that will be with drop monsters, but I'll give it a try. So yeah, in that sense, I would say that Monster Strike is not unfair, and in fact, it's very generous, because it gives you very, very strong monsters for free. That you might have to work a little bit for, but they are there and they are gettable. And then the next part of the question, have you ever felt like you needed to spend money? I would say no, but I enjoy spending money on it. 1, to support the game in my own little way, and 2, because rolling the hatcher is so much fun. Next, let's see, Raymond Long asks, when did you start playing Monster Strike, and when did you start playing Impossible Dungeons? I first started playing Monster Strike in April of 2015, and that was just when the Ancient Smydra just came out. So yeah, I didn't start very, very early in the history of the game, but still semi-early. I didn't really start attempting impossible quests until maybe September, August, September, so like 3-4 months after I started. It did take me a few months to get up to that level, and then I spent a month of losing until I defeated my first impossible monster, got my first drop of Tsukuyomi. That was my first impossible monster. Okay, next is Hooded Chameleon, and they ask, number 9, what's your ideal monster made by you? And then, yeah, I guess my ideal monster would be a Dark Element. I really like the Dark Element monsters. Be a Balance type and a Pierce, and it would have the double ability of a No Gravity Barrier and a Demon's Bane, and no Gauge, of course. It would have an 8-turn Tackle Strike Shot, and then it would have the double bump combo of the Mini Spread and then the White Blast. The Mini Spread would be the main bump combo, so it gets the full damage. And it would do the same damage as Snowbow Ascension, so pretty powerful. And then the luck skill would be a critical. And yeah, I'll go through and explain why I like all of these. There is this class of character that I really like, that is a Pierce with no gravity barrier and a blast bump combo, because those are really great for farming, really easy to use, and really good in the Dragon Gem quests in particular. And then I gave him a Demon's Bane just so that you can do more damage against lots of guys. The 8-turn Tackle Strike Shot, which we've never seen on a Pierce type, I think. So this could be pretty interesting. And yeah, because it is 8 turns, you could use this character in damage wall quests as well. The mini spread I love just because it's so strong. And then the critical luck skill I really like on Pierce characters because they get so many hits on boss characters. So yeah, that would be my ideal character. Okay, Blue Flame Zero asks, do you think the English version of Monster Strike will catch up to JP Monster Strike in terms of content like monsters, dungeons, impossibles, etc.? If you mean will the English version eventually get these things, then yes. They will get everything, or we will get everything except for the collaborations, which has to do with like rights and distribution or something. So I'm kind of thinking we're not going to get any of the collaborations. Maybe not even the Marble Tsumutsumu, which would seem to be easier to get here, but I don't know, I'm not in charge of PR or marketing, so I can't imagine how difficult it is. So I wouldn't hold my breath for any of the collaboration stuff, but everything else I feel like we're going to get. And then if you mean by catch up to mean will the English version get closer to like the release schedule of JP, I'm guessing not. The English version is just about a year behind JP. It's ahead of some things and behind on other things. But I have a feeling that the English version is going to maintain this current schedule of exactly a year behind JP, which I'm okay with. As long as the rate of things that we get is consistent with the JP game, we're going to have new stuff coming at us all the time. So in order to catch up to JP as far as time would be a super strain on us English players, I think. And then, yeah, it also gives us the benefit of foresight. So we can look at, future quests in the JP game and sort of prepare our characters now, like make max looks of certain characters or know who to keep or who to send or that kind of thing. So yeah, it requires us to be a little bit more patient, but there are benefits to being a year behind. Okay, and then finally, Cardia Bifida, I hope I pronounced that correctly, answered a number of questions. But just to summarize, it's mostly talking about the kind of the difference between local and co-op play, and sort of like the benefits and the difference in rewards between the two. And I will say that playing a solo just on one device is the least efficient way to play this game. It'll take you longer to do everything. And yeah, I hate to say it, and then maybe X-Flag would be upset with me for saying it. But if you are playing solo, then it is an overwhelmingly good idea to play with a sub-device. And yeah, I kind of recognized this immediately. And I was lucky enough to have 2 devices lying around, so I could use them to play local co-op together. And so, that's 2 monsters per device, and they make one team. And yeah, I just, switch off playing one and then the other. And then one benefit of playing that local co-op is the local co-op chest at the end of missions, which guarantees a drop. And then a lot of people would say that that is the only benefit or that's the greatest benefit of playing local co-op. And I would say no. Even if that local co-op chest was removed, there would still be a number of reasons to play local co-op with yourself with a sub-device. And yeah, that's the way a lot of people play in the JP game as well. They do not have the local co-op chest, but there are still a ton of people that play with 2 or even 3 or 4 devices altogether. And yeah, the benefits you get from there are you get more chests at the end if everybody's using max luck character. When you play co-op, then you get a countdown timer on your turn. So if there are opportunities or there are places where stalling would be a good idea, you do get that ability. And then, yeah, you get to share stamina, and then you get more orbs overall. So in theory, you could pull more Hatcher monsters, and then hopefully not get the same Hatcher monsters on the different devices, and so make more diverse teams. Or if you wanted to, you could make teams of just the same character. Yeah, because that can be fun in certain situations. So yeah, lots and lots of benefits of playing local co-op with a sub-device. The thing about that, though, is that it is twice the work. You have to put in just as much work into the sub-device in order to get it to the level as your main device. Do I play more solo or in line groups or online? And yeah, I play mostly solo. That's just kind of my personality, I guess. My favorite sport growing up was tennis, playing singles, because I like all of the responsibility on myself, and I want total control. So with playing with two devices, I get complete control over my team composition. I don't need to rely on friends, and then I also don't need to rely on other people playing their turns, and then me just playing my own turn. Yeah, it's probably an asocial aspect of me that I should work on, and I have been lately. The other day when there was that Yamato Takeru run, I hosted a few games online, and I played with viewers. Thank you for joining, by the way, if you did. And that was fun, but it was only good for fun, from my opinion. So I would not do that in order to kind of try to effectively farm a character. At that point, I was already finished with my Yamato Takeru Max Luck, so I could take some time just to play it for fun, and then get to know some of the viewers a little bit better. And yeah, I'll try to do that more in the future. I finished most of the Impossible Max Lucks, so that opens up more opportunities for me to play with other people. Okay, so I think that will do it for my Q&A about the game itself. And yeah, once again, thank you for your questions. I appreciate it, and hopefully that was insightful. And then I might ask to do another Q&A session sometime in the future. But I'll put some time in there, of course, just so that there's more topics to talk about. All right, thanks for watching. Take care.